My name's Luvina, and I want to challenge you to look up. By that, I mean I want all of you to have the ability to control your screen time and not let that affect you. I'm sure many of you have had your parents criticize you for use of screens. Something like, staring at your phone all day is gonna rot your brain, or you're such a screenager. I've certainly been told that, but in my home, it's usually my dad getting mad at my mom and me for playing F1 on the PS5 for too long. But realistically, is all this worrying and pestering worth it? Are screens really that bad? Raise your hand if you'd heard of the dog food effect. Fair, me neither until I researched it. First, let me introduce you a man who ate dog food at every single board meeting he had. Sounds weird, right? Well, by eating his company's dog food, it helped them gain the trust of others and show he was truly invested in his product. Initiated by him, this method is now titled the dog food effect. Now, many companies use this effect to help gain the trust of their consumers. But in the case of tech giants, this is simply not the case. In a New York Times interview in 2011, Steve Jobs said he prohibited his children from using the newly released iPad. While screens can be excellent tools, such as giving increased access to information, an opportunity to find knowledge far beyond the ability to travel for the majority of people, they also have many downsides, such as giving people a constant feed of unattainable body standards and decreasing motivation. Just like anything, it's important not to be dependent on screens. Just like coffee and energy drinks, too much is simply not good for you. Because if you can't live without it, it will eventually be your downfall. And think about it. If Steve Jobs wouldn't let his family use his products, should we? Now, I'm not saying go throw your phones, PCs, iPads, laptops, all your devices in the ocean right now. I'm saying take a look at the people around you. When was the last time you hung out with no phones? When you went to bed without checking your socials first? I'm saying be aware about what you could be missing out on. For example, in some time during the last hour, I'm sure all you want to do was pick up your phone and check your snaps or your socials. Life can be a very hectic and busy place, and it is essential that we take the time to relax and simply look up. Now, many people have the tendency to have trouble maintaining this balance, including me. In a recent study done by JAMA Pediatrics, they found teens on average spend 8 hours on their phones per day. Furthermore, this study only included personal screen time, which includes social media, gaming, etc. This study did not include schoolwork done on the screen. Therefore, the number would be realistically much larger. As some arts require screens, as well as the majority of people spend leisure time on their devices. For example, the average high school student spends a minimum of 7 hours on their screens per day, factoring in academics and prep. But still, this number could be much higher. Accumulating all this, we can end up with a range of around 7 to 11 hours of screen time per day. In that amount of time, you could run 4 marathons or watch all the Harry Potter movies every single day. That's a pretty big number, considering the average student day spans around 15 hours, which means screen time accounts for 73% of their entire day. With this, I encourage you to find an activity without the use of screens for 1 hour. It could be anything from knitting to skydiving. It's entirely up to you. Find time for life's little moments. For example, this summer on one of my many dirt bike trips, there was no internet connection for 4 days. No internet for 4 days? Terrible, right? Surely I should be dead by now. Surprisingly, I was at peace, and it didn't really stress me out. Maybe that's because my house is literally in the middle of a forest, but it was different. I got to admire the fish jumping in the lake and the squirrels scurrying up the tall trees, stuff I would usually just walk right by. Now, maybe it was because there was literally nothing else to do, but when I returned to the connected world, I felt amazing. When I returned to the connected world, I felt amazing. I no longer felt dependent on my phone. So if I can live without my screens for 96 hours, surely you can do it for 1. On another note, did you know that screens are killing your creativity? In a study done by Dr. Nelshin, he found that screens are stunting our imaginative capabilities. It's weird to think about how these devices with so much knowledge could possibly deny our creativity. While you may think your time playing online games or scrolling through TikTok would increase your imagination, in reality, it limits your mind, as each scene is not you thinking, but a series of predetermined scenes and complicated algorithms. Imagine a bird turning into a butterfly. It can be done with ease. While it's not biologically possible, we see it in vivid colors and great depth. We need this ability to succeed. For example, how are we going to solve problems if we can't even imagine solutions? Creativity is such an innate part of human nature, and it is essential that we retain this amazing skill. So I challenge you, take a break and look up. One day, no screens. Go for a walk, chill with your friends, or just spend time by yourself and reflect. If that truly is too hard for you right now, start with an hour, awake obviously. But I truly do believe each and every one of you is capable of just one day without your phones, because nothing is impossible. Thank you.